Hey everyone, I'm Michael Brew, CMO at Agent Moves, and welcome to our Good to Great series. We're all about sharing amazing stories of top realtors and how they got there, and of course, hoping to make more realtors great. So let's jump in today with our guest, Kim Rock. Yes, amazing name, Kim Rock. And we'll wait till you hear, we talk about something a little bit different at the beginning of these interviews, not real estate. So I asked Kim and for something different about her, and she told me, maybe because her name's Kim Rock, but she's been to over 25 Pearl Jam concerts. So I'm a huge fan. You got to tell us about the Pearl Jam concerts, and were you following them around the country? How did this love for
Yeah,
Pearl Jam come about?
when I was younger, pre having children, every time they would go on tour, we'd look at the list and say, all right, we're going to go this one, this one, this one, that one. Now it's slowed down fairly significantly. We just kind of target, maybe a Philadelphia show and then maybe one other, like a Madison Square Garden or something. But the best one I was ever at was it was the Vote for Change tour, which was back when like Ralph Nader was running for president. And what was that, like 2004 maybe? I forget. And I was right in front of the stage, and Eddie Vedder cut his finger on the mic stand, and he was looking at it and he was bleeding. And I happened to have a Band-Aid in my purse.
No
And so
way.
I held the Band-Aid up and was kind of waving around, pointing at the finger, and then he grabbed it. And at the end of the show, he came down with his tambourine and pointed at me and handed me the tambourine. So that's currently in my basement on the wall.
That is all. What a great story. And right, just amazing, right? Shows you to be prepared,
Yes. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Just love that. And like to be with a musician like that, I'm sure, having been around, many, I was a musician in my, earlier days and loved concerts, but being able to be that close to someone like that,
Yeah.
that would be just the thrill.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
It was one of the best days of my life until my children were born. So
there you
that
go.
was
Okay.
yeah.
I can understand. Hey, love it. So now tell me, okay, million Pearl Jam concerts, how the heck do you get involved in real estate?
But yeah, that's actually a kind of funny story. It wasn't intentional. So I was working in a marketing job for Comcast actually, and I was always very interested in investing. And I had been approached by someone about getting my real estate license, and a few of my friends got their real estate license all at the same time. And my initial reaction was, that's for old men. That's like used car sales. Why would I have any interest in that? And then my friends got really interested, and they knew that I was interested in investing. So at one point, one of them brought me an investment opportunity and said, do you want to buy this? It's a great rental. There's a tenant in place and you'd make money. And I thought, all right, I'm interested. So I bought my first investment property, and then I actually bought my second investment property from my friend who was an agent. And at that point, I said to myself, well, I should get my license just so I'm not bugging him to take me to houses. And, I'll just, if I'm interested in investing, I'll get my license for myself just to invest. And so I did that. But it was around the time in my life when, my friends were starting to buy their first houses. We were straight out of college. I've had my license now for 18 years. And it just happened to be the right, place at the right time. And it kind of snowballed. And I got to the position where I had to make a decision between keeping my full-time marketing job or going full-time in real estate, because I got to the point where I was getting so busy with real estate that I couldn't do my full-time job effectively anymore. And so I took a leap of faith and haven't looked back since.
Wow, wow. So tell me about that first year that you committed full time. How did you do? Like, you remember how many units sold, or how was that first year for you?
Yeah, my first year full time, because I did the first year or two actually kind of both. I was a dual agent, dual career agent at that time. In my second year of real estate is when I realized I needed to make a decision, and I was prepared to leave my full-time job. And my goal was just, I would like to replace my salary of, actually, I think I didn't even have that high of aspirations. I just wanted to do a fraction, maybe 75% of my salary, what that was. And in the first year, I actually matched my salary of my full-time job. And then in the second year, I kind of blew it out of the water, and just, it kept progressing after.
So, what are the things that you felt you were doing? Were you in an area like, is this where you grew up in this area? Or
I
had you?
did, yeah, I did grow up in this area. I apologize. We have a landline and no one ever calls it, but it just rang.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It can
Like, do
keep
you want me to
ringing.
wait till it stops ringing and then you can edit that out, or because it's going to keep ringing?
Yeah, let's give it a
Give it
second.
like two more rings. Hold
Okay.
on. And then I'll repeat that. I don't know why we even still have a landline.
You're one of the few. It's one
I
of the
know.
big
I won't
problems with people without without landlines. Yeah.
get rid of it. All right. It should be done now. Sorry, what were oh, you asked if I grew up here. Okay. So yes, I did grow up in the area that I still currently live in. So I had a really good base, a sphere, just from, relationships, prior jobs, things like that. And like I said, right time in my life, I was in my early to mid teens. People were starting to buy their first homes, friends, things like that. So that definitely helped that I had the community support and just, was well networked.
So in the early days, what are some of the things you were doing, now, 18 years ago, 15 years ago to, help build that sphere and kind of nurture the sphere? What were you doing kind of then? And then I'll ask you a little bit about, now.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing was just that my business was very relationship driven. I never door knocked. I never cold called. I didn't do any of that stuff. I was just always very good about keeping in touch with people and, bringing them value. And that's still what we focus our business on. We don't view people as just transactional. We're in their lives forever. Once we sell them a house, we want to be their go to resource 5 years from now when they're, looking at preschools for their children, and they want our recommendations for things like that, or restaurants, or things that are not just real estate related. And I think that's kind of what catapulted me, was just those relationships and actually caring about the people and not just caring about a sale.
Yeah. Yeah. No, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. I do find that people that have watched a lot of these, it's just the consistency of helping people, just is the message that just seems to come right across the board to the most successful agents, where it's not a sales job. And, this is about, helping people. So it's a great way to approach it. So what do you think some of the things that you've done, to stay in touch with your sphere, right? Because we know that, some of the statistics, I think it's like 75% of people do not use the same agent that sold them their house to sell their home because they don't remember who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Just consistently staying in touch with them. And that's not, a phone call of who do you know that wants to buy or sell a house. Like, I don't do that. We have a lot of events. We invite them to a Thanksgiving pie event. We do a lot of community driven events. We have movie nights. We have fitness events. We have a women in business headshot event.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of things like that, just to bring value to people that have nothing to do with asking for real estate business, but just being a part of the community.
Right. Right. Yeah, I love that. And so, how much of your business today is from that, is from kind of like your sphere and past clients versus, what you might be doing to, bring in some new customers that, you didn't
Yeah.
know?
It's still a huge percentage. Obviously, as we've gotten bigger and grown, more does come from sign calls and advertising and things like that on the listing side of things. But without looking up the actual facts, I would say most likely 60 or so percent of our business, 60 to 70% probably, is referral based from our network.
Good, good, excellent. So, you meet with a buyer. I'm sorry, you meet with a seller. Tell me something that you feel is like, a little bit of like your superpower that gets you to close that deal. And they don't go ahead and look at another agent, because those numbers are crazy too. It's like 80%, I think, of sellers meet with one agent.
Yeah. I really take the time to listen to them. I think that's something that a lot of people neglect to do. You're there with a purpose and you have your questions and things like that. But a lot of people just kind of bulldoze people and don't actually get to know them and listen to them. And, I'm really good at adapting myself to the person that I'm sitting with. So, if I'm there with a very analytical engineering type personality, maybe I'm focusing more on facts and data. But if I'm there with, a senior who's really nervous, they're downsizing for the first time, then I'm not focusing on here's my marketing plan, but I'm focusing on here's how I'm going to hold your hand every step of the process, and I'll coordinate, that contractor. You don't have to do a thing. You don't need to, lift a finger. So really just kind of understanding who the client is, and adapting to and listening to their needs.
Yeah, really good, really good. Yeah, I look to ask agents, what kind of makes them different, when it comes to that, right? When it comes to convincing or, being able to close that deal, on the listing side. And I really like that, being able to kind of read the room and, know who you're with and being able to adapt, which, for an experienced agent makes great sense, right? It's a great tip. Although we're focused here on helping, good agents become great, it's also great tips for newbies that'll be listening to these videos and, things that they can take away. They take one or two things away from these interviews. It's kind of a home run for them. But that's a great one. That's a great one. Any niches that you found? Like I know we spoke before we got started here. You're a Penn State alum. Anything like that where you've connected with, alumni networks or, hobbies that you have?
Not anything specific like that, but one thing that, especially over the past few years, I've really kind of gotten a significant amount of business involving in is those estate preparation type sales, whether it's a family member who's passed away and I'm dealing with the executor, or a power of attorney situation of, a child who's moving their parent into an assisted living community or something like that. I've really done a significant amount of those types of sales. And I love it because I love taking the burden off of the family member, and especially I can relate because my father has Parkinson's currently. And so when I'm talking to these people, I understand how much they're really dealing with trying to navigate the insurance and the facilities and, just all of the things that are weighing so heavily on them. And so, as they're trying to move mom into a nursing home, if I can be the one to say, I'm going to take care of everything at the house, I'm not going to put it on you to, let in the contractor or call the township about XYZ. But if I can really kind of just be that central person for them. And a lot of times the people are out of state, the children are not here. They're calling from California, and, mom lives in my town. So they don't need to fly here to clean out the house. I have a clean out company I can recommend. I have a home cleaning company I can recommend. I can, get a painter in there if needed. So for me, it's just really, I think, satisfying to know that I'm putting together all the pieces for them, and it's just one less thing on their plate.
Yeah. And I'm sure, this is one of those, it's a sad thing, obviously, with your dad, but the empathy that you can show, you can't put a price on that. So I've spoken to other agents, with different kind of things, whether they have some disability or things with their family. And I've talked to them about, like, digging in on those niches, right? And in a positive way, it's not about like the creating the business, but your job is helping people. And to have that kind of empathy, to have something in your life like that you can then bring to families. I mean, I don't know what could be more rewarding than that. And, and playing off of, the experience that you have.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about now 2025. What are your goals?
Our big goal is to focus on, kind of brand recognition, continuing the community events, which we started over the past few years that have become a big priority for us, but then kind of moving it to also that, social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, if it's still going to exist, I guess we don't know, but just kind of, taking that local community focus that we have, but moving it to more of that online platform. So whereas we're definitely the go-to community people right now for, someone calls and says, what do you recommend for this or that? But I kind of want to take that to the level of, the YouTube, where someone is going online and searching and getting those answers. And I'm able to do that, in a digital platform as opposed to just a local platform.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say it's time, and you could have some good Pearl Jam music in the background on those YouTube videos, right? But yeah, I think you're spot on. It's, it's where, again, it depends on who you're going after, to your point, right? It's like the older audience. You need to reach them a little bit differently. Not going to be as
Yep.
big on social, but
Sure.
those, lots of the families, the flippers, right? The new ones coming on. Social is just huge. So I think it's a great goal. Is there I want to double the business, 50% more units? Like, do you have that kind of a goal?
I am not a huge like making lofty goals type person. And I believe at Mega Camp, Gary Keller said, this is the year that winning is going to be not losing ground, So as long as you're kind of matching the prior year and you didn't take a step back, that would actually be a win in the next few years. So my goal is to just we have steadily increased year over year, except for 2024. We did, recede in 2024, as did most of the, real estate community. I just don't want to go, back from there. So if we could get back to our 2022, 2023 numbers, that would be great. I don't, I don't want to create, oh, I'm going to double my business type goals, because to me, that is almost too much pressure. And then I tend to not hit anything versus baby steps.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. No, I like it. Yeah, it is going to be an interesting year. Again, I'm interviewing a lot of successful agents all over the country. Just got off with someone, in the Silicon Valley area, Georgia, Tennessee. It's very different, Northeast, where we have a lot less build inventory, right? We're dealing with the inventory that we have, where other areas, Arizona, these open areas that could keep building, they
Yeah.
just have more inventory, right? So
Yeah.
I'm hearing different things on the expectations this year. Of course, interest rates, we know we're all kind of sitting on pins and needles, seeing how it's going. Yeah, in general, we're going to see some markets. I hear people thriving. No, we are going to do, it's been up like
Yeah.
crazy. And others, like you're saying, hey, if we can be flat, I'd be happy, to get through this year. And as the things then maybe change as it goes forward. I like it. Not a lot of agents are like you. A lot of them will set that lofty goal. And then I don't know how they're monitoring it. It's not like a business, right? Where you're using, other tools and CFOs and watching you are everything. You're the CFO, you're the CEO, right? So it is all up to you. But I like that. I like being realistic and hopefully putting a plan to this that,
Yeah.
is going to at least get you there.
Exactly. Yep.
So listen, I really appreciate the time, and I think you've put out. I hope to give a couple of nuggets. Like if someone gets one nugget of information from this that they can use to be successful, then this was a home run. And I think you had a couple of good nuggets in here, and I
Good.
really do appreciate the time.
So
And please follow Kim on her social media as she's going to be building that, and follow us as well on our YouTube channel. And please subscribe. And until next time, thank you again, Kim. I really appreciate the time.
thank you.